loud birds today. So I've been putting it off because of my work and my schedule, but it's finally time. I've got 3 days off, and right now it's not raining yet, but it's supposed to. I'm gonna finally do the struts on the back of my car, and hopefully this week gets to some of the engine mounts that I bought too. So I guess we'll get started with that. Got my seats folded back now. Top of the strut tower is somewhere right around here, so I've got to pull this whole piece back in order to access it. I nearly forgot I got to actually take the seat out to do this. There are these two little tabs under the seat that hold it in place. Those just pop up and then you can pull this whole thing out. Once you got the seat removed, right under this little flap is the screw that holds this piece of the back seats on, so it's kind of independent of itself. With that bolt off, you should just be able to lift up and it comes right off. Now that we have that piece out, we have our access to the strut bolts. This is the piece that I replaced a couple years back. You can see, I mean, obviously it was kind of a job to make it work, but there's a couple spots where water is actually seeping through, which is not good. I really need to go through and seal this up a lot better. I just sprayed it with stuff. But on the other side, I'll have to see. It doesn't look so bad on the bottom. Now on the other side here, I almost forgot, there's this little air conditioning vent that is just kind of set in there. You can kind of just yank that out. I wanted to do all this step first so I could put some penetrating fluid on everything. Just so when I actually do remove it, it's easy to do. Next step is the most basic part of car maintenance. Just gonna jack up the car and take the wheel off. In a really dumb twist of fate, the hydraulic jack that I have is out of fluid. So I've got to run to the store. But I don't think I'm gonna make it. The sky's starting to get dark here, so I think I might actually have to postpone it again. I don't want to do that. We'll see what I end up having to do. Back from the store, and luckily the rain subsided for now. To fill the jack, it's really dumb. Got to pull off that tab, and then there's this little plastic thing I got to pull out in order to fill up the primary, whatever you want to call it. To use two hands just because it was so hard to get that little thing out. But as far as I'm aware, you just fill up that reservoir all the way, and then you should be good to go. Whoa. And I'm getting stuff everywhere. The little funnel that comes with it isn't great. It took me quite a bit of effort to get that little rubber stopper back on, but it's on. We're up, wheels off. Now I can show you why I'm doing this whole thing. It's because, look at that. Let's see if I can get a good angle. Look how much that has like popped out. That is like close to failure, to be honest. So I guess I'll just start disassembling. So after waiting a while for the rain to die down, I've gotten the two main bolts off that I needed. And I'm actually struggling with this one because I had to look it up again. You actually have to put an Allen key in the center while you're spinning the 14mm, because it's just going to spin on that anyway. So that's fun. That's difficult. Now I just got to wiggle this little brake retaining clip out of the way. There you go. And for this one, oh great, it's all in one piece. So I might, for the time being, cut that off because I don't want to unscrew any of that. If that's not my luck, I don't know what is. It's hailing now. Great. Starting to get dark, so it's a little harder to see. Went ahead and very carefully cut out that piece so I can just move this out of the way now. All right, so that's disconnected. I already loosened the bolts on the top. This is the only thing holding me up, but I'm thinking if I remove those top bolts, I can wiggle that out. and then I can take it off completely. After wiggling it out for a while, I finally got it out. Even though I removed the top bolts, it was still pretty securely fastened in there. I finally have it in the workshop, and now we just have to decompress the spring. I'm gonna clean up my workbench because it's kind of a mess. It's 40 degrees and it's thunderstorming outside right now. So, guess for this, nope, no, that was about right. I gotta do one rotation at a time to be on the safe side. You know, I think yeah, I'm gonna get something to hold that down. Oh yeah, well, we're not really in tension anymore. Okay, let's see if this is going to be enough. Probably not. Oh, I'm off. We're good. Oh, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. Oh no, here we go. Alright, we're safe again, mostly. Alright. Let me disarm this because I gotta clean this up anyway. Well, that was not actually that bad. So I am going to strip this off, get rid of all the surface rust, and repowder coat it. So all this material is just absolutely destroyed. Huh. Interesting. That boot sits on entirely like that. Is my other boots the same? Huh. Not quite. Maybe. Okay. So this goes on like this. Now it's time to do the test that everybody does when replacing struts. I'm going to try to push down with the same amount of force just to show what the difference between these old shocks and the new shocks are. Oh gosh. When I got down to the bottom, you could see some of the oil pop out. I think that's a little telling. Oh yeah, that is definitely, oh, severe. It goes up a lot faster too. The fact that I gave myself a couple days to do this project is coming in full effect. I'm trying to remove the paint from the spring in order to repaint it, and well, I've tried sandblasting, and it's just really thick paint. I mean, it's obviously powder coat, which I'm going to put new powder coat on. I tried aircraft remover, and that helped, but it still didn't take the whole stuff off. So here, let me show you. I've resorted to a couple hours of electrolysis, so it's probably been like 20 hours now. And that is some green slime that's on the top now. I went ahead and rinsed it off, and it's still, that paint is still on there hard. Like, I'm gonna have to do some more chemical stripping. While I'm waiting for the paint to pull off the spring, I took the other one out. So this one, whoop, this one, it might be going up. It's so slow you can hardly tell. It's even worse than the other one. Now's the time that I think I have to officially give up on one goal of this project. I was going to just sandblast this and then repowder coat it, but I can't get it off. It's like, I've tried chemicals, I've tried wire brush, I've tried sanding it down. I sandblasted it one more time to try, but like, especially the stuff in the very middle. I think I'm just going to have to hot coat it. So we'll have to give that a go. Just got the coil out of the oven. It's not perfect. And you can definitely see the dimpling where the worst rusting was. So at least the rust is gone now. Got the second one in the oven at the moment. That one I didn't prep as much, but hopefully it works fine. So we're finally to the second most dangerous part. Not really. So we're going to put everything together, put the spring back on. I did put a notch right here. This was completely enclosed, but I'm not going to disconnect my brake line, so it should be fine. The way I have the clip going on, it should never come out. Plus that brake line's pretty hard to begin with. Using the old gasket, it's still kind of messed up. I washed it, but it should line up. There's like a little indentation right there. Then the spring. So these Toyota springs are kind of cone shaped almost. The small part goes on the top. Sorry, I almost felt like a piece of paint came off. Small part goes to the top. Large part goes to the bottom. And you're supposed to line this up with the indentation. There you are. And then I don't have the exact OEM gasket, but what I did is I just cut the top off of this. This is mostly fine. This goes on that top plate. Where's my top plate? Yeah, this will go. Yeah, just like that. And I left enough of a ridge that the spring is going to hold up against there just perfectly fine. And we want to make sure we throw this on too before we compress it. Yeah, the only downside to the way that I did it is obviously now, like, this is a little bit more exposed than it was, but really shouldn't matter too much. Get on. Maybe I should have done that part first. So just like the bottom, there's a ridge on here that you have to line up with. So we are right there. Actually, one important thing that I forgot to point out. So there's a little ridge on the inside of the top piece here, and this plunger or hydraulic cylinder, they should be aligned. I just need to like move it over. Ow. So the answer to the torque question, this bolt, as far as the Hayes repair manual says, should be 34 foot-pounds. Goes to figure when you're doing something for the first time, you screw something up, and that little boot I put backwards. So gotta compress it again and take it out, switch it around, and do it again. So there we go. Got it the right way around this time. First one's good to go and ready to be installed. Back outside, kind of running out of time. I went ahead and cleaned up and sprayed some rust reformer up in the top tower there. We're gonna do everything backwards to how we had it, but before I put this guy on, I'm gonna put some grease down in here. I mean, I'm not gonna have anything here because obviously that's gonna be exposed up top, but right along this ridge, I'm gonna grease that up so hopefully it prevents any water from forming down in between there. It was actually a little bit easier to get that on than I expected. So I kind of just teetered it right in, you know, on the part that it's going to screw into. And I got it mostly tightened up top, but I didn't tighten it on all the way. And I do have Loctite on it. So the next stage is getting the bolts on. Now the bolts here, I'm going to put grease on everything but the threads. And then obviously Loctite on the very edge. And then these get torqued to 83 foot-pounds. Actually, before I put these on, I had trouble with this guy before, so I'm going to put this assembly on. I don't know what the foot-pounds on this is going to be. I'm just going to kind of get it as tight as I can. Because this is the one that you got to put the Allen wrench in and then turn it. Now we're working a little bit in the dark. That's tightened. The two main bolts are torqued. I had to manipulate this a little bit because even with cutting that notch out, it still wasn't big enough because it's got this little spot that it has to sit in. Then it took me 2 minutes to get that little clip in. But that's all good. I still have to torque the top two, or top three, I mean. You know, I had some spray paint here. I'm going to just hit that real quick with some rust reformer just to cover the bases. That'll lift it up and get this side on its own weight. So it's the next day now. I went ahead and finished everything up last night. Got both the driver's side and passenger side on. And I can say for a fact now, I don't think my shocks ever worked before. Like, this is significantly an improvement. So that takes care of that problem. I still have like a dozen other projects to work on this car. Next thing I have, and hopefully I'll be able to work on today, is the engine mounts. At the very least, I want to get that mount and that mount straightened out. This one's definitely the harder one. So I have to lift up the car, hopefully by using this lift point. Or the engine, just the engine. But I'm going to make that the next video. So, I'll see you then.